Hi everybody, I'm Kim. Welcome to the Regretful Yarn Addict. Today is another stitch tutorial and we are going to be learning how to make this square, which is called the Modified Granny Square. Look at how pretty that is. This is what it looks like in a self-striping yarn. Here's another example. And then I have some just in some solid colors. Okay. What we are going to need is a pair of scissors, a darning needle. You might possibly want a stitch marker, and of course we're going to need our hook and our yarn. This is just a scrap yarn that I have, and I will be using a 5mm H8 hook. So let's go ahead and get this started. Set everything else aside. Now, you have your choice here. You can either chain 6 and join the slip stitch to the first stitch to form a ring, or you can go ahead and do a magic ring. This is how I do mine. It's just like I'm going to start a slip knot, except I don't. And we're going to chain 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet and another double crochet. All into that ring. Chain 2, and then we're going to put in 3 more double crochets. Chain 2. I'm going to close my ring a little. 3 more double crochets. So right now I have 1, 2, 3 sets of 3s. Chain 2. I'm going to put in my last set of 3. There's 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to tighten my ring down, and then I've got the 1, 2, 3rd chain up. We have 1, 2, and this is the one we're going for, the very top of that. Chain 3, we're going to wrap our yarn. We are going to go under both loops of that chain. Pull her through and form a half double crochet. Let's see if I can get this down a little bit more. All right. Now, chain 1, and we're going to put 4 single crochets into that corner. There's 1, 2, and this is where you might want to use your stitch marker just to mark that very first single crochet, because it could very well get lost. So there's 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go ahead, squeeze that over so we can get into that very first double crochet where we connected. We're going to put a single crochet there, 1 into the next, 1 into the next, and then into this corner we're going to put 4 single crochets. We're going to do that all the way around. A single crochet into every stitch, and then in every corner 4 single crochets. Then we have 3 single crochets, 1 into each stitch, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 into the corner, and then our last 3. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet, making sure we go under both loops. Grab our yarn, pull it through and pull it through. Okay, right there is our very first, right there. In that same spot that we just slip stitched, we're going to chain 1, then we're going to go back into that stitch, make a single crochet, go into the next one, make a single crochet. Now we are going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip this one and skip this one. So we're skipping 2, and then we're going to put 5 single crochets in, 1 into the next 5 stitches. There's 3, 4, 5. And we're going to do this all the way around. Chain 5, skip 2, and then put in 5 single crochets. Skip 2, skip 2, and then we have 3 because we have our first 2 right there. So we just put in our last 3 single crochets. Now we're going to slip stitch into that first single, slip stitch into the second one, and then slip stitch into that chain 5 space. So this is what we're looking like so far. All right. Now we are going to chain 3, put in 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and put in 3 more double crochets into that chain 5 space. We're going to chain 2. Now we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, and right there is our fifth one. We're going to skip 2 and into the third one, or the middle of the 5, whichever is easiest for you to remember. You're going to put a double crochet, chain 2, and then into this chain 5 space again we're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. I have our 5 singles. We're going to chain 2 and into that middle one, 1, 2, 3, a double crochet, chain 2. And that brings us back to our corner again, where we're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. chain 2, skip 2, and into that third one, a double crochet, chain 2, gets us back into that chain 5 space, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, and into that third one, a double, chain 2 brings us back to our beginning. We've got 1, 2, 3. Into the top of that chain 3, going under both loops, slip stitch. Just like that. All right. Now we're starting our next round. We're going to chain 3. That's going to count as our first double. We're going to put a double into the next 2 stitches. Like that. Now we're going to go ahead and into this chain 2 space. We're going to place 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets. Scooch it over a little because we're going to want to get into that stitch right there with a double crochet. So we're putting a double crochet into the top of each of those double crochets from the row below. Now we're at our chain 2 space. We are going to place 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space, chain 1, skip that one, go into that next chain 2 space and place 2 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet into the top of each of those double crochets from the row below. Okay, we're at our next corner. So again, into that space, we're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Squish those over so we can get into the top of that first double crochet and place another one. And we're going to do the same thing we did on this first side. We've got our double crochets on top of those. Into the chain 2 space, we're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip this, and then into this next next chain 2 space, 2 double crochets. That puts us back in a corner. All the corners are 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So we'll finish this one out. Got our 2 double crochets there, our chain 1, skipping that one, going into the next space, putting in 2 double crochets, and then a double crochet into the top of each of those 3 from below. Okay, and into our corner 3. Okay, so we've got 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Don't forget to squish those over so you can get that very first one. And I will meet you over here when we make those last 2 double crochets in that space. All right, I've just made my last 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. We're going to go to the top of the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and underneath both those loops. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and pull it through your loop in a slip stitch. All right, and this is what we look like after this round. Okay, now we're starting our final round. It's chain 3, and we're going to put a double crochet into every stitch. Just like so. Okay. And now we're in the corner. We're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. But you know how the previous row I said squish them over so we can get into that first stitch? We're going to skip it, otherwise it gets too wibbly wobbly. So we're going to skip that one and we're just going to go into the next one. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we come to that chain 1 space and we're just going to go ahead and put a double in there. Now we should have 8 stitches over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Which brings us to our corner. And what do we do in our corners? We do 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets. And we just let that stitch get hidden, and we just start into that, what is technically the second. And we have 7. Brings us to that chain 1 space where we just put a double crochet. And you're going to continue that all the way around. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the corner. Skip this first stitch. You should have 7. Before you get to your chain 1 space, put a double crochet there. Got 8, your corner, and then we should have 7, your corner, your chain 1 space, and I will meet you right here. All right, I just put in my 7th double crochet there. I'm going to put my double crochet in that chain 1, and then I have 2 spaces. Okay, now what I'm going to do is leave my hook in there for right now. I'm going to cut off about 3 inches or so. And then I am just going to pull it through. Now I'm going to take my darning needle, flip my piece over, and in that center, if you did the magic ring, let's go ahead and close it up. Let's get our yarn onto our needle. Okay, now this is where it's coming out. See that? So I like to just go in like that. Make sure you don't come through on the other side. And then I pull that through. And then I skip this one and I go into the next one. And I just go back. And then I grab this one, and I just go back the other way, and I like to go through the fiber, pull it out, cut it off. Okay, now I'm going to flip it back over so the front side is up. Here we've got our tail sticking out through that last stitch. I'm going to put my yarn back on. Okay, now look. 1, 2, 3. Right there is the top of that chain 3. I'm going into the next stitch. This one right here. I'm going to go in from behind. I'm going to go under both loops. Bring my needle forward, close that up, and then I am going to kind of pull that down a little bit. And I'm going to do like this. This way, this forms a fake stitch right there. Okay, so here's where I put it in. This is my chain 3 that I have yanked down. And then I'm going to go to the very last stitch we made, and into the center I'm going to put my needle, and then I'm going to grab some stitches back there, pull my needle down. See, we've got a loop right there that looks like a stitch. Make sure that chain 3 is down. Pull this so that it's the same size as the other stitches. See, like that? Now I'm going to turn it over. And here are the stitches from that previous row. And I'm just going to go under some. Again, making sure I'm not going through. I'm going to go that way. Pull my yarn snug, but not snug enough to pull that fake stitch down. And then again, I'm just going to go back the way I came from. Maybe go under a fiber or through one. And then I'm going to go back a third time. My yarn's coming out over here, so I'm going to make sure I just do like so. Go through a fiber, pull it back. So I've gone this way, that way, and back. It's not going anywhere. Cut my yarn off. Flip to the front, and there you go. What a pretty, pretty square. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new, or maybe got reacquainted with something you once knew. It's a beautiful square. I am going to be making several of these and making a blanket. But you can use them for anything you use a granny square for. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever, whatever, when you're watching. Know that I appreciate you. And if you have not already subscribed, please do. It doesn't cost you anything. And once in a while, I post something pretty. Bye.